Hi friends, hope you're well and welcome to Saturday. I want to talk about the importance of knowing and understanding who you actually are. And this might be a little bit out there for a lot of people, but just bear with me. Since ancient times, the Greek, the Egyptians, the Babylonians, everyone in the ancient cultures, the Vedas, the Hindus, um, they have they have followed and understood the meaning of the stars, the planets, and the energy that comes from the heavens. And so there is a reason why we have star signs and horoscopes and a lot of other mystical things that people go, oh, woo woo woo, right? As fairy fairy tales. But in fact, us as Westerners, doesn't matter where we live, have got this belief that we have received from our generational structure and programming that it's all woo woo. All your horoscopes is good for is for you to find a lover or something. You know, you're going to find your perfect match at some point. Whereas in the Eastern religions, it is so prominent and widely, if not 100% accepted, that is what you do. I remember going to Sri Lanka with my family when I was 12, and we were invited to a family, a single lease. I'm going to state the difference, even though it should make no difference, but we were invited into a single lease family. And they told us that when they got no the man of the house said that, I don't know how it came about, but he said that their horoscopes are revealed to them, their past horoscope from when they were born until they became 18 was revealed to them. And he said, he even showed us the horoscope, and it was in the form of a scroll. And he said, it's exactly true. All of it. Even to the person that I married when I was like 17. You know what I mean? He said it was all true. And it all came to fruition. And he said at no point were we allowed to understand or know the past script of our life. And so when we get to 30 or 40 or 50, we are able to be given what has happened, but not the future. And I actually thought that was really interesting, but you know, I was 12, and I remember wanting to ask questions, but were very quickly told to just sit and just be quiet. Yeah. from my dad. I should put that in. But I've always had an inkling to look into my own horoscope. And I remember buying, I have no idea where it is. I think I lent it to somebody. It never found its way back. This way massive big book of Chinese horoscope. And I read about myself, and I'm going, oh, hang on a minute, that's me. And how can this be so accurate? And so, if you understand, and now I understand this much deeper, to a point where when you're born, the location, the time, the date, your name, everything, nothing is by chance in this world. And so, it's interesting how we can, when we understand what it is all about, we are crazy not to learn and understand what and who we are. Because your path, and my path, and everybody else's path has been pre-planned for you as a soul, number one, not you as the body suit, but you as the soul. You have a purpose and a mission that only you can do in this lifetime. And who told you weren't special? Right? This is what the Western world is trying to portray to you, that you're not special, you're just a number, and you don't really make a difference. Well, you make a massive difference. And I started reading, and I have gone through years and years and years and more years trying to understand what it all means. And I touch on a scripture of some sort, and it said soul path. And I can't remember how old I was, maybe 17 or 18 or something. And I thought, well, what is that? Are we told we're even having a soul in school? No, I wasn't. It was nowhere, it was never mentioned that you have a body suit, but the soul is who you are. And so it's incredibly important. Like, I mean, that's the first thing that you need to be taught when you're 5, right? Because then you know who you are, what your characteristics are, what your soul's path is, what your lessons will be, and how to progress with a very abundant and successful life. Let me repeat that. Understanding your birth chart, but not all birth charts are the same. So I study evolutionary astrology, and that is all that looks on your soul's mission, which is who you are. You're not just skin suit. The skin suit is a necessity for the soul to express itself in this world. Oh, how sweet, look at that.
Hello, Mummons. Hello, Mummons.
Meet my neighbours. And so it's a necessity for the soul to have a suit on, because otherwise the soul cannot communicate and experience and express itself in this world, in our environment.
Hello, Mummons. Hello.
Oh, they're all coming now. That's good. You get to meet all of them. There's 6. And so, but there is a reason that you're born in a certain place, in a certain sign, in a certain, energy configuration from all the planets and stars, right? And going back to what I was going to repeat, this is imperative that you understand and know about when you're born, when you're like 5, when you first understand something, right? Maybe that's earlier, but that is a must. That's non-negotiable. Because by learning and understanding that, you understand who you are, your characteristics, your soul's mission and purpose in this life, what lessons you will encounter, and your soul path. Let that sink in. And are you doing that to your children? Because I can tell you right now, if you don't, the children are going to go through schooling system in the Western world who will make them workers and not thinkers. And the troubles and trauma and stress that people go through in their lives because they have no understanding of who they actually are and where they belong. You know, I wish I had been taught much earlier that we should all look to the stars and the planets and the energy systems in the heavens.
Oh. Hello, Mummons. How are you?
Right. And as I said, it's like a non-negotiable. That should be in the schools. That should be in the curriculum. You should all be given a book, a guide about your soul, and about what we all have a task and purpose in this life. And what comes from that? I'll tell you what comes from that. Empowerment to the individual soul. And why is that so scary? And who is it scary for? That is very, very frightening for the people who want to control. Hence, I believe that it is not even mentioned in the Western world, right? They brush it off as hocus pocus and something that the witches did. They were burnt at the stake, right? And why were they burnt? Because the controlling parties didn't want them to influence and tell others the truth. It's mind-blowing, yeah? It's mind-blowing to understand that everything, and you can practically say that anything that the governing bodies brush off as hocus pocus, like tarot, horoscopes, astrology, energy healing, sound healing, is where you should be looking. Go right the opposite, because they're brushing it off as fairy, and just stupidness, really. And that's where you should be looking. Look to the stars and the planets and nature for answers. And anyone who doesn't watch the skies would maybe do so tonight, because the 8/8 Lions Gate full moon portal is here, and it is an incredible chance to understand and manifest what you desire. But those manifestations will only come into fruition if they are for the benefit of the collective. So if you're wanting to manifest a couple of cows, for what reason? Because they're so beautiful, aren't they? But if you're wanting to manifest your own red Lamborghini to portray that you're rich and wealthy to the purpose of your own benefit, then maybe it's not going to come through. But if you wish for awakening of the collective, awaken the collective, all human beings, to see who they actually are and to self-realize who they actually are, then that probably would come true. So think of your manifestation as benefiting all of humanity. It's a thought. And last night and tonight, and I think energies are very strong until the 12th of August, one should, number one, go out and sit under the moon. It was last night, it was just amazing. I sleep under the stars because I'm surrounded by massive glass windows, and it is just phenomenal. And so it's very important to sorry, I don't know if you can see me that well, but the sun is really warming up my back, and it is, you can see the shadows of the cows, so it's really shining down, and it is just beautiful. And not only the cows, but look at the view. It is truly amazing. So let me just spin the camera around a little bit, just bear with me.
Hello, Moomooins.
You want to have a look?
Hello, Mummons.
I'm not sure they're happy to be models yet. But it's very interesting that that nobody tells you what you really need. You need to be told about yourself, about your life, about your soul's path. That gives you direction and clarity rather than, spinning around, have no idea. People are so lost in what they have a job that they hate, they have a partner that they don't get on with, then they have children with that partner, and they're because of the rift between the husband and wife or the partners, the children become affected by the life, the circumstance, the everything. And so if we know where we're going, if we have direction, and that's why the stars were consulted, right? The stars were consulted to give guidance in life. And so let's go back to that and get clarity of your life and get clear on the path that you're traveling, so your path is more direct rather than wee. Right? I know, I've been on this, and it's been downright awful sometimes, and decisions have been made that are not aligned at all to the path that my soul always needed to travel. So it is so incredibly important to learn and understand and not fob it off as some airy-fairy fairy tale that crazy people talk about. That's not it at all. So you talk about all these Greek philosophers or the Egyptian astrology masters. Are they brushed off as hairy-fairy? Well, no, they're not really, are they? And they have always been there, and they are recognized as just such knowledgeable people. Look at Thoth, or Hermes Trismegistus, thrice great. Is he a hairy-fairy person? People buy his books in the billions. And guess who else behind closed doors have tarot readers and astrologers to guide their path forward? Do you know? None other than the Vatican. Let me say that again. The Vatican. And who is it does rituals? Most of them are maybe a bit satanic. They're being called by their mother. Go on then. I think it's molasses time. Eh? Off you go. Don't miss out. Off they go. And so it's interesting that we're not being taught this. We are not being taught, and that is something that I'm very, very keen to explore. And so I'm going to leave that with that thought with you. Have a think about that. You're obviously watching this. So have you looked into this? Have you brushed it off as hairy fairy? Hello, Mumun. Hello. Aren't you beautiful? Oh, classic. Have you brushed it off as hairy fairy? Well, I can tell you right now that it isn't. So take some time and have a look at it and understand when you were born. Now I'm gonna tell you the difference between the Western tropic horoscopes. It focuses more on your character and your characteristics and what the soul expresses that makes you who people portray you, your characteristics, and just how you are in mannerism. Evolutionary astrology take that into account as well, but it looks deeper into your soul's path and your soul's mission in this lifetime. Because I'm going to say this, it's not what the Western world tells you. This is your only life, and you have to work hard for the companies, for the corporations, to make anything of yourself, and then your children will do the same. The corporations, we need you as a worker, not a thinker. They get rich. You just have a mediocre life because they implement high living costs. They want you to buy a new car every year or every 3 years. They want you to buy a new phone every year. You are here to support the corporations and their wealth while you're struggling. Just saying the truth out there. But if you knew what your sole purpose was, then your life would be different. Your life would be much different, much more abundant, much more happy and stress-free and enjoyable. And you would be able to have the time to release any karmic debt from the previous life, from your soul's previous journey through another timeline, that you don't have to take with you to the next. So the more karmic lessons you learn and release in this lifetime, the better and easier your next lifetime will be. I'm going to say this. If you have questions about what I talk about, I have my email address every time in the description box below. Send me an email and ask the question, or send me a message and let me know what you think. And I don't mind if you think, well, you're just full of whatever, you're just off the planet with the fairies, right? And that's okay, because we learn from each other. But sometimes, or I'm going to say this first, we are all at different levels of understanding and learning. And only the other day I was speaking to somebody about, I don't know, nothing too deep, you know what I mean? And it was like speaking Arabic to a Norwegian person. And the more I tried to clarify, actually that happened a bit yesterday as well. The more I tried to clarify, they straight over the head, they couldn't grasp the concept at all. And in the end, I realized that they were never going to understand until much later in their life. And so your light, my light, is not meant for everyone, because somebody else's light is meant for them, because at this point in time they're not ready. They're not ready to see. They're not ready to understand. They're not ready. You can talk until you're blue in the face and they still don't get it. They still don't understand the concept. They still do not understand what the hell you're talking about. And that's okay. They will get there, right? Because and I think I'm going to have to say religion here for you guys to understand what I'm talking about. In every religion or in every belief, you worship Brahma, Buddha, Jesus Christ, God, Allah. In every belief system, that's probably a better word, the goal is the same: to go through life, to fall from heaven, come through the Stargate, I mentioned this before, and then be born. Rather, you have to start from the bottom, right? And climb your way to the top. There's a reason why people say that in careers as well, because that is what we do in life. We are born completely ignorant as a baby, right? We're so dependent on our parents or whoever looks after us, and we go through stages, right? Through hormonal stages that causes lust and cravings and whatever, right? Until we start to understand there's more to this than just alcohol and sex and gossip and shit, right? And it's all the same. We are born completely ignorant, and we climb our way up the ladder to God and wisdom. Every belief system is the same. Every belief system. Kabbalah. You look at the tree of life. The sephirots. You can see them. You can lay the tarot cards out You have two tree of lives next to each other, and you lay out the major arcana in each Sephiroth, and you lay the minor arcana in each Sephiroth, and you can see your life path. So when someone says it's hairy-fairy and fairy tales and woo-woo, they then say, hang on a minute, I've actually looked into this and there's something to this. Why don't you look it up? Why don't you research it for yourself before you start? Yeah. Anyway, I hope you have an awesome day today. I wish all the blessings and hope you have a fantastic day. And draw in that 8 Lions Gate full moon energy into your body. It will do you well. It will serve you well. Until next time, have a lovely day, and I'll speak to you soon.